Checking in, Mr. Hausman?
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. Checking in, checking out, whatever.
Is everything okay, sir? You seem a little depressed and angry.
Yeah, whatever. I'm in Seattle, just trying to fit in, not fit in, check in, not check in, I don't know.
Sir, we get this a lot. I think you're thinking of 90s grunge Seattle. Now we're happy, loving, good fun, good food, good vibes Seattle.
Oh, have a great day then.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey there, everybody. Glenn Hausman here with the No Vacancy Podcast. I am so excited to have each and every one of you here with me today. Man, what a week this has been. Started off the week out at High Tech in Minneapolis, and now I'm sitting here in a hotel in Seattle, Washington, because I'm excited because I'm working with Hilton this summer to do this great Summer in the City podcast series. This is going to be so really cool. I'm going to be filling in the Weekapal groove about this one, let me tell you, because right now on this show, you probably figured out already by looking at the show notes that we're focused on the Embassy Suites by Hilton Seattle, downtown Pioneer Square, but that is not the only thing we'll be doing this summer. Oh, no, it is not. Next month, we're going to San Antonio, Texas, where we're going to be featuring a Home2 Suites by Hilton, San Antonio Riverwalk. That should be a lot of fun. It's such a great convention town over there. And also in August, we're going to Monterrey, Mexico to check out the Homewood Suites by Hilton, Monterrey, Apodaca. Man, that is going to be a whole lot of fun. So stick with us all summer long as we're going to some great places from time to time. But actually, hopefully the rest of the time, I'll be sitting in my backyard, making some barbecue and chilling out. All right, so this week, we took the Hotel Tech podcast to High Tech there, and that, of course, was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And for those of you listening to this show, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the Hotel Tech podcast on the No Vacancy feed. So if you go to No Vacancy with Glenn Hausman on iTunes, you go to the No Vacancy with Glenn Hausman on Google Play, and anywhere you get your podcast, could be Stitcher, could be anywhere. We are there. Just subscribe to the No Vacancy feed. You'll get the Hotel Tech podcast as well. So there, we've got a whole bunch of shows coming up from that we're going to be rolling out all summer long as well. We're going to be talking 5G. We're going to be talking to hoteliers all about their strategy of revenue management. I mean, the folks that are on the ground, the folks that are at the hotels doing this every single day out there, and what you need to be thinking about, as well as some of the new products that are out there that are looking to affect everything. We've also got a great interview on that show coming up with Skift's tech editor, Sean O'Neill, where we go over all of the amazing technology that we featured, and maybe my favorite of a bunch, along with some of the others. All right, they're all my favorites. I just can't mention each one being my favorite. I had a great time talking to HFTP President Scott Campbell, who's now the CTO of Live Nation, but he comes out of a casino background. He worked at MGM, Caesars. He's really done the circuit over there. You're going to love that conversation on the Hotel Tech podcast. Now, also, we've also got the Hotel Design podcast. What are you talking about, Glenn? Another podcast? On that one, we're doing Hotel Design Show, partnering with the Checking In podcast, where we've got, of course, my co-host, Anthony Melchiori, but we've got Queer Eyes Bobby Burke. That show just dropped, so it'll be in Sunday's newsletter. Check it out right now. Go to Checking In with Anthony and Glenn, and you'll see the great Bobby Burke Queer Eye show. You're going to laugh along with that one, learn a whole lot as well. So, on this show, we're going to be focusing on all sorts of great stuff, but I couldn't do it without my great friends at Almo Hospitality. They're your go-to partner to simplify FF&E deployments for the guest room and beyond with industry-leading brands. The latest hospitality trends and distinctive new-to-market brands coupled with their specialized business development and hospitality-dedicated sales teams. Almo, they're a division of Almo Corporation, but they're kind of out there. They're on their own, and they want to connect to you, but they are the nation's largest independent distributor of professional AV, consumer electronics, major appliances, outdoor furniture, housewares, and more. Check them out at hospitality.almoproav.com. That's hospitality.almoproav.com. Man, am I excited today because we have got two great interviews coming from the Seattle Embassy Suites downtown Pioneer Square. First was the GM of the hotel and how they deal with all sorts of different groups of audiences they have right here. They're right next to stadiums. You'll get the picture. We talk about it all in the interview. We've got a great interview with the developer too. I think that you're really going to like both of these. This is the first time I've done an interview series kind of like that. So we're going to get a real idea of what it was like creating the property and then a real practical understanding of the day-to-day operations of the property. So this was fun. We'll also have some video clips of these interviews that'll be going up all on social media in the coming weeks. You're going to love it. You'll see this incredible Seattle background behind us, learn a little bit about Pioneer Square. I think you're going to love absolutely everything. So we'll be back with our first interview as soon as I'm done talking. Hey everybody, welcome back to the No Vacancy Podcast with me, your host, Glenn Hausman. I'm excited and delighted today. Why? Because I am out on a rooftop deck here at the Seattle Embassy Suites Hotel Pioneer Square. I'm not sitting alone because, while that would be fun to be here alone talking to all of you guys out there today, I'd like to mix it up a little bit. And I found General Manager, Mr. Nick Kuhns, downstairs. So I dragged him up here for a podcast. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. So glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm really glad to have you here, too. So I've been here for the last 20 hours or so. I've had a chance to check it out. And I got to say, as far as Embassy Suites goes, this is unlike any other Embassy Suites I've ever been to.
Absolutely right. 100% unique. And that's kind of what we pride ourselves on. It's something that's so new and different for the brand. It's something that we can show consumers and even potential investors what we can do with this brand and specifically this hotel. It's really been an exciting project to be a part of.
I like that you said what we can do with this brand because, you know, you have to be the agent of both Hilton because it's a Hilton brand and represent the ownership group as well. Speaking of the ownership group, we have Greg Steinhauer, the president of American Life Company, the folks who own this property on in the next segment of this show. So, Nick, I'm looking forward to talking to you and learn a little bit about what customers are looking for today, what that customer mix is all about, and how you make sure that guests are happy each and every time they walk out of the doors after completing a stay here. So let me start by saying I went and had breakfast this morning, and I love that Embassy Suites has those made-to-order omelets and a real breakfast with actually quality ingredients. In my opinion, I had a great time, and I got to tell you, you guys are doing such a good job down there that it seems like the entire hotel comes down for breakfast.
100% redemption every day.
Really?
And that's because it's complimentary.
Yeah.
So we have this.
Yeah, but sometimes I would rather just sleep in no matter what because some hotel breakfasts are just not worth getting up for.
You're absolutely right. But what I think we found is so many other hotels are charging anywhere from $15, $20, $25 for a breakfast, even if it's a grab and go. And to have something so well done, made to order, omelets, hot food, cold food, it's amazing to see how much the guests come down and enjoy it. And it's complimentary, so it's a part of their room rate, and it's something that typical Embassy Suites travelers look for. You know, they want the extra space in the room. They love the happy hour that we do every night for the manager's reception, and the breakfast is just a part of that.
Yeah, and how many rooms are here?
282.
282. So you're getting 500 people plus every single day, probably, for that breakfast.
Last night we had 650 people in-house.
Wow, 650 people in-house that you know of.
that we know of. That was told to us.
Yeah, yes. Right. Yeah, I got to tell you, speaking about the food, I'm going to get back to breakfast in a second, but it seemed like everyone was also at that evening reception last night. Absolutely. I knew these things were popular, but, man, you got to get down there early so you don't have to wait on a drink line. That being said, it did move quicker than the average conference cocktail line, so pretty impressive.
Well, and that's going to be an attribute to our ownership because there is a high expectation that, you know, while it is a complimentary service, we want to execute from a service standpoint and make sure that every guest has a opportunity to participate and enjoy, and that they're not stuck waiting in line to get a snack or a beverage.
Yeah, we moved pretty quick through that line.
Hopefully not too quick.
No, not too quick. Everything was absolutely terrific. So going back to breakfast this morning and servicing all those guests, I noticed that you do the made-to-order omelets a little bit differently than what some of the other companies do. And by that I mean usually there's a guy with the 3 or 4 burners standing in front of you asking you what you do, but you've got 2 people working on this thing. You've got one guy that's got all the ingredients in front of him. He asks you what the ingredients are, and then you've got a second that he puts into a little bowl, and then he gives to another guy that seems to be manning like up to 10 omelets at once, it looked like.
Yeah, they're like octopus. I don't know how they get it. I mean, it's pretty amazing to watch them just be able to take such a big operation between a couple guys and really execute flawlessly. And it's just a well-oiled machine, and the culinary team is just phenomenal here.
Now, one of the things that I picked up on, and I mentioned it to Greg in the second half of the show, is you've got a big cruise ship business over here, and I only know that because they're all wearing matching T-shirts for the thing, right? So how does the cruise audience, for example, differ than the audience that might be coming here because you've got 2 amazing professional teams that are actually more than 2 teams, 2 stadiums over there. You guys have soccer now playing out of where the Seahawks play, for example. Then you're in this building that has an office component, so you've got other folks coming in for that. So you've got a very unique mix of business here. How does that play out, and how do you service all of them?
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, and I think at the end of the day, our expectation is to treat every guest, no matter what they're coming here for, like they're coming here for the first time, giving them an amazing experience.
Right.
And what we definitely have seen is, with CenturyLink Field here in T-Mobile Park, you definitely get those goers that are maybe here for a couple of days. They're making a vacation out of it.
Right.
They're exploring, downtown Seattle, plus they're going to the game. With the cruise ship goers, they're getting in from the airport. They have all of this luggage. They're trying to get in, have a couple days maybe max before they get on this cruise and start a 7-day vacation. And in some cases, we're actually getting them when they port back.
Nice.
And then they spend another day or 2 before they go back home. So it's really nice to see them coming in and using this as a facility because it's so close to the port. But what we've definitely seen with those cruise travelers is that they're such on a short timeline that it's really get them into the room, get them comfortable, get them fed, and then get them out because they're on the move getting ready to go to the cruise.
And that's really mostly what their expectation is. This is being that this is not the destination for them, right? They're here, but it's not their destination. Their expectations are a little bit different. Does that make your job easier or more complicated?
Well, it definitely helps with the ability to continue to sell the hotel, but it can be hard on the operation because it's a lot of in and outs. With 282 rooms, you really like to have that length of stay pattern because
and the
it's
whole
better
point
on
is right with an Embassy Suites, you're looking to have more of that longer term mix, right?
Yeah, so it is a little bit of a different mold, but that's something that we do in the hotel business. We adapt. And we're very thankful to have, any type of guest that's coming in. And we do understand that there's a lot of different things in Seattle and in the downtown market, especially where we're located. So that's why we embrace anybody that's coming in, treat them specific to what they're doing, but also understand that they're still our guests and they have, great expectations that we're going to meet.
What about the guests that are coming here for football games or for concerts? I equate football games and concert guests a little bit more equally than people going to baseball games. I feel like baseball game people probably don't drink and party as much.
Yeah, I definitely think, we'll have 8 home games, this year, and we're really excited to welcome new guests, a lot of which, haven't been to Seattle in a long time because their traveling team hasn't been here in at least a few years. But they definitely have an opportunity to let their hair down and enjoy themselves. But we're seeing that, pretty consistently, even amongst baseball players. We have some great new visiting teams this year for baseball and even soccer. We have a great following with the soccer team, and looking forward to NHL coming in the next couple of years.
Right? Was it the Sounders Football Club? Is it called?
Sounders is the soccer. Yep. And then we've got the Storm is on the WNBA for the female basketball team. But yeah,
where do they play?
They play Key Arena,
Okay.
so they're going to be also housed with the new NHL team that comes up in 2 years.
Yeah, do we have a name for that team yet?
It hasn't been announced yet, but we're guessing it's going to start with an S.
Right. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I like the alliteration when it comes to sports teams.
Right.
Names.
Absolutely.
So, what do I hope with these 8 games that you're selling a year that you have multi-night stays required.
Yeah, typically with these traveling teams, they're coming from either the Midwest or the East Coast. So we definitely get a couple of days before and after, and they make a little bit more of a weekend out of it, which is nice. Typical games are on a Sunday and or a Monday, so we'll get them coming in on a Saturday and then usually out on a Tuesday.
Do Monday night games work better from you in terms of profit making than Sunday games?
And it's a good point. Thursday was actually our busiest one last year, but it was because we had Kansas City and they had a huge momentum last year. So it's a combination of the day, the time, and the team that we're playing. But regardless of who we're playing, we have such a loyal fan base here with Seattle that every stadium night is packed when we have a game.
What are their expectations when they stay here? Are they really just looking like the cruise ship people to just have a place to sleep and eat and move on? Or are they really expecting to make this their home base for pre-gaming?
So a lot of these fans have had these staples of places they've gone to for the last 5, 8, 10 years, and we're a brand new property. So to get them to come into a hotel, come up to our ballroom and pregame and tailgate with us, because we do a open to the public, amazing space tailgate party right before the games. We were packed last year, and people were trying something new. I think they're going to use that as an option for them next year and this year. And I think it was a great first year for success, and I think we're going to have future success because of it.
That's excellent. What about transient and your extended stay business? How are you focusing on that? Where is it coming from? Is a lot of it just coming from the companies that are in this building or the general community?
Yeah, so the transit's still going to be, whether it's concert goers, they're coming in to explore Seattle downtown, go to the underground tour, see what Seattle has to offer, go to Pike's Market. But what also we're seeing is, the business travel, the group travel are coming in from local corporations, even the construction companies. We have 30 plus cranes in the downtown city area right now. That's a huge piece of business for us.
Wow, that's the construction side of it.
The construction side of it.
That's pretty interesting to me. So, what are some of the things that guests are looking for today? Customer behavior is very, it's changed a lot in the last number of years. You've been in this business for a while now. So what is it that guests are looking forward to today? One area that I'm thinking about in particular is technology. I happen to have been at the High Tech conference in Minneapolis this past week, so I've got tech on my brain. So I feel like we need to talk about that a little bit here, so I could try to make some observations from the tech show. So just
no question,
get my back on this one, would you?
Well, you're talking to the right property. Every guest that, from my perspective, they're looking for a unique experience. There's so much supply out there right now that it's hard to differentiate each hotel from another. And I think what we do specifically here, Alexa in every guest room. So you've got your virtual concierge to help with questions about the city, facts and amenities in the hotel, what time things open. If they need requests like room service or additional supplies, Alexa, hey, send me new towels. It comes straight to the front desk and we take care of that.
Right.
In addition to that, we also have the features with the TV where they can tie into their Chromecast, Netflix, Hulu.
That's awesome.
So
Is it through the TV?
Through the TV.
Right. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it gives them that feeling of being at home, and especially for these travelers who road warriors, they're away from home sometimes 200-300 days a year. It gives them an opportunity to feel like they're at home when they're not, and have some of those things that they would have had if they were home.
Well, one thing that made me feel like I'm home, and this is like the strangest thing to say that, it's just that because I'm a Hilton Honors member, I'm already logged in to the internet, so it like recognizes me, and it makes it a lot easier because I don't have to worry about typing 1,000 things in order to get online.
100%. And that's something that Hilton is really working towards with this connected room, and it's all going to tie into Alexa in your Honors app, where you have these features and preferences that are going to follow you because of your Honors app, and it's going to tie into the Alexa program. So as soon as you check in, whether it's digitally checking in or going to our guests at the team members at the front desk, you're going to be able to get into your room, and the temperature is going to be set to your preference.
Love it.
The music is going to be playing if you have a favorite band.
I might.
Through Alexa. And you're just going to feel like, wow, someone took the extra time to make sure that the room was exactly how I wanted it before I walked in. And it's all because of this connected room, Alexa, and digital age.
Yeah, it's really tremendous to me to see how we're finally inching towards that. For I feel like 15 years already I've been talking about these types of things because they were promised so long ago, but it was kind of wishful thinking as opposed to really being able to be enabled through technology. Right now, what about the whole notion of the mobile phone? And a lot more has to go through the mobile phone. There seems to be a little bit of, hey, let's put tablets in the room, or let's just let people control everything through the mobile. I feel like with the connected room, everything's going to go through the app, right?
Yeah, and it is, but we still have a business to run outside of the digital age, and I think it's being able to marry the two together. Hilton's been known for being innovative throughout the years, and this is something that we pride ourselves on. We're not taking away services from the team members, the staff, and the guests. We're just enhancing them. So rather than using digital check-in to take away opportunities from the front desk, we're allowing that conversation to be less transactional and more of a, what are you doing here? How can we help? How can we influence you to get the most out of your stay while you're with us? And what we're seeing is that the guest is really embracing that and saying, I have this digital capability to use my mobile phone, but I'm also getting so much more from a customer service experience with these team members because they have more time to talk to us rather than being transactional like we used to be 5-10 years ago.
And one of the things that you're doing through the app is you have the mobile key now, right?
Digital key.
So I'm still scared to use it because I'm a Luddite, right? To be fair, I want to point out that I always ask for a boarding pass, even though I have it on my app too. So this is more of a issue with me personally.
Understood.
So tell me a little bit about why I should be getting on with the digital key and the convenience of it, and how I can pick my own room and all that kind of good stuff. I really need you to convince me because I'm tired of living in the 18th century, my friend.
I'm going to convince you in less than 30 seconds.
All right.
Someone asks you a question you don't know. Do you use an encyclopedia?
I spend a lot of time thinking about, do I go to the World Book or do I go to the other one?
No, I think it's just a convenience thing.
Right.
You know, it's something that we have accessibility to, and I think there definitely is a period where you're not sure how to get into it.
Right.
But as soon as you take that leap and you venture out to see how easy it is and how user friendly the app is, it really is amazing because all of these features, as far as upgrades that used to be done from a personal one-to-one basis, you're getting preferential treatment. When you digitally check in, you are first to be able to upgrade as opposed to someone who's checking at the desk. So we're giving you the best room availability if you digitally check in before anybody else. So that alone is incentive enough to say, hey, maybe I should try this out because I may have the opportunity to get a better room upgrade because I'm choosing to digitally check in.
That I like, because once people see me and I walk in the building, they're like, what's the crappiest room we could give this guy, right? I think that's a really a terrific point over there with the digital key. So what percentage of people are taking advantage of that right now, being that there's still a lot of people out there like me that aren't familiar or aren't comfortable yet with it? What are your expectations and where that's going to go?
It's about 40% of our rivals. That's what we're saying.
That's pretty significant already.
And, we have 85 million honors members. So we have a large amount of honors members that are traveling and coming here, but there's still a significant amount that aren't. So we're introducing them to the honors program because they can't use digital check-in unless they're part of the honors program. So there is still a component where we want to introduce these people to all of these different programs that they have, but tell them why Hilton Honors makes sense. Get them enrolled in the program so that they can start using these features and really experiencing a different side of travel that they wouldn't have experienced had they not been an honors member.
Right. So 40%, obviously that's going to go up. As that number continues to climb, I've got two questions on how it affects your business. Number one, how does it affect the way that you connect with your customers so you can continue to have meaningful interpersonal connections with them? And then I want to talk about the labor component, but let's go to this first one first.
Yeah, the first one's a great one. I think it helps, as you identified, we have this profile where it says this is what the guest likes, this is what they don't like. They don't want to be near an elevator. They want to be on a higher floor.
Right.
We know that before they even come in. So we're able to meet and exceed their needs, greet them by name, and make them feel like we've already prepared a perfect stay for them because we know who they are and what their expectations are. In addition to that, because they're a part of this program, we have some of their information on file. So we will allow them to opt in to our 24-hour digital concierge service, which we are able to text the guest and say, here's this number while you're staying with us. Text this number at any time, 24 hours a day, and we can meet or exceed your needs, whatever it may be. If you have a question about where something is in the city, if you need to know what time the pool opens, if you need to know what time breakfast starts, we're able to answer that guest through text message 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And that particular component, I'm sure, has some sort of AI component to it. You're either like using the Ivy or Alice or something like that. I can't imagine you're manually handling all of that.
So we have a little bit of both. So when we're in typical operating hours of the day, it is manned by our front office team in the back office. They're receiving the text message through their computer, pops up, and then they respond right away. Overnight, we can use AI with some kind of pre-programmed, are you enjoying your stay? If they rate from a 1 to an 8, then we have a different AI that says, I'm going to send this to a manager on duty so that we can have an immediate conversation. So there's a portion of that, but for the most part, I would say about 75% of the time, you're actually speaking to a real person.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And I got to tell you, it's crazy that technology's gotten to the point now where you can't really tell,
Right.
and you can't really tell where it's handed off from the computer machine to the actual human being as well. So how does this all tend to affect how you staff your property? Because one of the things that I'm seeing right now, well, I'm not seeing, I'm hearing about it constantly from hotel owners, are it's getting harder to continue to push up rate, but at the same time, all of your expenses are starting to rise. And you need to start to be creative and think differently. But my fear is hoteliers are going to remove more of that human element from the property in favor of machines and self-check-in and all of that kind of stuff. So how do you balance everything to save some money while increasing that customer service element?
Well, I think it's a great point. And what I want to say is with everything we've done, even with this hotel that's unique to even some properties in Hilton, from a technology standpoint, we have added positions. We have not decreased positions. So what we're seeing is we're getting more consumer stays. We're getting more revenue from the top line. So we don't need to cut to the bottom and worry about less staffing. We're actually adding staffing because we're busier because of it. So like I said before, we're using this digital age and this mobile technology as an enhancement to the guest experience, but we're not taking away from the human part of it. And I think that's what's so specific about what Hilton is doing, is because there's such a human element about what we do that we can't ignore that with technology. We're just using it as an enhancement.
Right. So, Nick Kuhns, your general manager here at this amazing Embassy Suites, Pioneer Square in Seattle. Great historic neighborhood. But I want to ask you a little bit about, let's turn on that Wayback Machine. How did you first get involved in the hotel industry? What made it appeal to you?
So I had gotten into the Lowe's Hard Rock Hotel in Orlando, Florida about 17 years ago. And I wanted to work in restaurants, and I had applied for a job to get into a restaurant, and it just happened to be in a hotel.
Right.
So I'm doing the restaurant thing, but I'm falling in love with the hotel. And I think it all started with that hotel 17 years ago. And it's taken me all over the country. I've been able to go to Las Vegas, Nevada, Chicago, Illinois, back to Florida at the Clearwater Beach property in Hilton, and then most recently Salt Lake City before I came up to Seattle.
What I like about you, Nick, is that I know all of those properties that you worked at, but you didn't want to say them because they weren't Hilton brands. So that's real spirit for the Hilton family.
Yeah, I'm true blue. 9 years with Hilton.
Well, now that you did mention the Hard Rock in Orlando, I had the chance at Universal Studios to go to Islands of Adventure a month before it opened, and that was like the coolest theme park experience I ever had, because it was such a great park when it opened, and then there were like 2,000 people in the place on
it's
the
unbelievable.
day I was there.
And Orlando will always be home, and it's funny because every time I travel back to see family, it's completely different than what it was a year to 5 years ago. So it is nice to see that even that city is continuing to evolve, but that's where family is, and that's where we call home. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. It's been a great ride.
How do you continue to build upon your skill set, be a better professional, so that you've been able to get these opportunities to move around from property to property and to achieve that general manager status?
Yeah, I think each market has been specifically different. Vegas was all about volume, Orlando was all about tourism, Salt Lake was always about the business, traveler and the consumer there. And Seattle's kind of a combination of both. So you kind of take these bits and pieces from each property, the amazing people that you get to work with, mentors, and you really start to see how small of a business this really is. I can't tell you how many times I cross paths with hoteliers and professionals that I've worked with in all these different states. It's pretty impressive and remarkable to be a part of such a big industry and feel like you're in a close-knit community.
Right. Excellent. So, give us an example on how you stay on the top of all your trends and stuff like that. Is it just talking to people? Is it research?
Yeah, so we're constantly looking at our survey systems. We have surveys through Salt. TripAdvisor is a huge thing that we look at. We respond to 100% of our surveys. We take every piece of feedback from guests, positive or negative, as a gift. Feedback is a gift, and it helps us continue to improve each day. And we ask the guests, why are you here? How did you hear about us? What made you book here? And we listen and we see what they looked at from us to make them choose. And we leverage that with other guests that may chose to stay somewhere else. And I think what it comes down to is consistency, a great product, but true customer service where guests feel like even if the hotel stay maybe went awry, it was the people that took care of them and made them feel so at home while they were here that's what's going to continue to make them come back year after year.
What makes you continue to come back day after day? What's your favorite part of your job?
Every day is different. There's no challenge that is impossible. Every day we come in and we're dealing with great people. The guests are one thing, but the team that we have here and that I've had in every hotel, it really is a family. It's these people that love what they do. They're 100% the most personal people you'll ever meet. They truly believe in hospitality, and they treat you like you're their family and that you're coming over to their house, and they're going to give you the best experience you can. And I think that's what makes it, so rewarding.
Right. Now, we all have a biorhythm. Some days it's easy. Some days it's just really hard. There's a lot of blockades in here in your head that make it difficult to work. How do you get through the times where you just don't want to get out of bed that morning and go be cheery in front of the hotel team and all the people that are staying here? Yeah,
I think it comes down to knowing that there are guests that are coming to the hotel for the first time, and they're just not sure what to expect. And maybe they're a Hilton Honors member, maybe they're not. But we want to give them an experience that is going to make them say, wow, that team really went above and beyond what I'm normally used to. And I think it's that challenge every day that inspires all of us to want to say, it's worth it. And that's why we're here. That's why we chose this industry. We could have chosen 100 different industries that would have been easier, less stressful, more, day-to-day kind of, the huge. And, that's not why we're here. We're here to do something different, something unique. And one guest that has an amazing experience, that maybe they had a long travel time or they're dealing with a tragedy in their family. We have 24 hours, 48 hours to show them an experience that can make it all worth it. And I think that's why we do what we do.
Beautiful. I got a lot more questions, but I think that's really a perfect way to kind of wrap this portion of the interview up. How can we find the hotel? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Hilton.com, Embassy Suites Seattle. We're the Embassy Suites Seattle, downtown Pioneer Square. So look up us. Booking Direct is always the way to go, and become an honors member.
That's right. Booking Direct is always the way to go. And be sure that it's the downtown Pioneer Square. There's two hotels in this particular market. If you stay at the other one, you will not be downtown in Pioneer Square. You'll be scratching your head going, why am I here? Right? All right, so stick around, because after this commercial break, I got a great interview with Greg Steinhauer, the president of American Life, the folks that built this place. So we'll be right back after this message.
Thanks so much.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now at Traveling Glenn. No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Glenn here. So listen, the extended stay market accounts for 8.6% of the U.S. lodging supply, and it's been growing steadily since 2013. That explains why Red Roof has entered this market with their Hometown Studios by Red Roof product last year. Well, listen, this year at AHOA, Red Roof unveiled the first prototype of the new build concept for Hometown Studios. So, from the company that obsessively listens to their guests comes a brand new design based on consumers' #1 request: more functional storage in the bedroom and bath, but not at the expense of good design. As Red Roof's Chief Development Officer Phil Yu told me, Hometown Studios is all about aesthetically pleasing properties underpinned by cost-effective construction and economically sourced materials that allow us to deliver modern functional hotels that exceed guest expectations for an extended stay property. Listen to that whole interview. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it at novacancynews.com. But it's a topic that is so important, and you really should be focused on Hometown Studios. What's more, for hoteliers looking to reposition, the new designs can be adapted to enhance existing hotels. And franchisees get Red Roof's significant brand awareness, their seasoned management team, and Ready Rewards, a richest in-class loyalty program with nearly 3 million members. And that just happens to be the least expensive program for owners. Plus, if you ask Red Roof's franchisees, they'll tell you genuine relationships, real results. It isn't just some slogan, it's how Red Roof does business. Get in on the new way to extended stay and visit redrooffranchising.com or call them at 888-473-8861.
Back to the show. It's No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the No Vacancy podcast with me, your host, Glenn Hausman. I am excited today because I'm sitting on a balcony out in Seattle overlooking this incredible city with Greg Steinhauer. He's the president of American Life, Inc. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Glenn.
Well, I'm excited to be here because we're at your Embassy Suites property, which opened up of March of last year. And what a great property this is. What an incredible location here in Pioneer Square, man. How did you pull something off that I would think everybody wants to be a part of?
Well, we were very lucky. A lot of it has to do with timing.
Right.
This property became available when the developer that had bought this parcel and the adjacent parcel decided that they didn't want to build an office building in 2013. And so we were able to jump in and secure the property.
Right. Now, of course, there used to be something else here, right, which is why an amazing piece of land in part of a historic district of the city suddenly became available. So the old Kingdom was over here?
This was the home of the beautiful Kingdom, and this was part of the parking lot.
Right. And now on the other side of here are both the football stadium and the baseball stadium. And then right behind us, you've got this incredible historic district where Seattle first started, right?
That's right. This was the beginning of Seattle right here, and also served as the base for the gold rush up to Alaska in the 1800s.
That's pretty awesome. So how did you get involved in actually this particular project? It's a mixed-use project. The focal point is, of course, this great Embassy Suites, at which we're sitting upstairs at the penthouse. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, our company, American Life, we develop Class A properties, some industrial and some hotels. And we had done a hotel here in Seattle previously and found that we liked the hotel business. And this just presented a great opportunity to do both a hotel and office tower.
Right. So it makes a lot of sense to me. But let's talk a little bit about, for folks that are learning a little bit about this business, why mixed use makes so much sense right now, right? And I see this building in particular, it seems more integrated than some other mixed use projects that I've seen.
Right. Well, I think, first of all, one of the distinctions with this property is there's two separate buildings, two towers connected by an 8-story atrium. And so you have the hotel inside its own box, and that allows you to manage it much differently than when you have an integrated project with condos on top, etc. It just makes for a great dynamic. The hotel supports the office building, and the office supports the hotel. We have a great ballroom, the King Street Ballroom. And so there's just a lot of uses that work together well.
Right. So what is the quintessentially important to you when finding a smart hotel partner for a project like this? Because I can imagine you not just have to find the right brand, but you also have to find a brand that kind of complements of the office space that you're going to be having here, the companies that you hope to attract. You want to, I would think, create kind of a rhythm between all of the different components in the building to really kind of rise the tides of every single element.
Right, exactly right. This to me was a fairly obvious choice. Hilton didn't have a lot of presence in this market, and there wasn't any long-term or suite product here down in the Pioneer Square south of the Central Business District. And so it just was, to me, an obvious choice that Hilton would be a great partner and the Embassy Suites would be the right product.
Yeah, Embassy Suites is a terrific product. I actually had a chance to try it out last night, so I could sound like I know what I'm talking about on this podcast. We'll see if that actually happens by the end of it. But Greg, what interests you about the extended stay all suites category in particular that you thought that would be the right fit for this particular neighborhood, Pioneer Square here in Seattle?
For this location, the all suites product we saw as a 7-day-a-week business. During the week, we'd get the business traveler, and being next to the stadiums and being heavily influenced by the cruise business here in the summer, you get a lot of cruise business, as you can see from your stay here.
I could
right
see
now.
From my stay here. As a matter of fact, you'd say, Glenn, how can you see that you've got great cruise business? Well, I saw a whole pack of people all wearing we're going on an Alaska cruise shirt together, right?
Yeah. There's over 300 Alaskan cruises from Seattle.
Over 300 every year?
Every year. And the biggest surprise about this entire project was after we opened, I go, oh my God, look at all the luggage. We have a separate room that we had to create just to store all the luggage from the cruises. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Wow. How did you think about that ahead of time to know that you needed to do something like that? Because that's not something that, even though Embassy's got a flexible prototype and you can do a lot of things, it probably doesn't come with that kind of an idea.
Well, we thought about it ahead of time, but we didn't think about it well enough. So we actually had to pirate some of our retail space that we have in the building and create a separate luggage space, just because there's so much of it.
Right. So what was the process like working with the team at Hilton and Embassy Suites and figuring out exactly what the room count would be, what the design would look like, all the different elements that kind of created this great final product?
Right. Well, we started with the basic layouts of the prototype Embassy Suites room, and we started playing around with that. Our architect, Arthur Chang. But we're in an urban environment, as you can see here. We're 23 stories, and we're on for the hotel's part of the product. We're on a very small floor plate of just under 12,000 square feet. So we had to get in a lot of one-room suites, take advantage of all the views. So we came up with some of our own concepts as well. And Hilton was great with that. They were very flexible in the urban environment.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the concepts that you came up with that you thought were critical for this particular property.
Well, we were trying to maximize room count, and the only way we could do that here was shrink some of our rooms.
Right.
So we have a product here that is a Murphy bedroom.
Cool.
Yeah, that attaches to another one bedroom, and we can split those off.
Right. So you're coming in for the Alaskan cruise, for example, and you put the kids in the other room, or you're coming for the sporting event and you put the kids in the other room, right?
Exactly. And I was thinking of the guys that would come for the Seahawks games, and they just wanted a place to sleep. They didn't really care.
Sleep or pass out, Greg?
Pass out, yeah. The opposing fans, not the Seahawks fans.
One of the things that I also noticed that I haven't seen at another Embassy Suites prior before was the room is more square in nature, and you put the bathroom in one corner of it with one door leading to the bedroom and one door leading to the living area. So that way it creates more of a seamless approach, so you can still have company in, do business productivity, have access to the bathroom, but you don't need as much square footage to put a whole separate bathroom in to work with just the bedroom itself.
Right. That we share that. One interesting thing about the bathrooms is these are all pod bathrooms, so we delivered these were pre-built off-site.
Really?
Yes.
So how do you do a pod bathroom pre-built off-site? Did you put them on a crane and bring them in, or?
Right. They were built in Northern California.
Right.
And came all done, and then we just lifted them into the rooms with the crane every time right after the floors had been poured. Then we slid them into place.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So it's kind of like a moderately modular type of property.
Yeah, I mean the bathrooms are definitely modular.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. How much time savings, cost savings, effort savings does something like that do?
Yeah, that's a great question. We get asked that all the time. This is the second time we've used the modular bathrooms, and my response is usually as follows: you don't save any money, real dollars, but you save a tremendous amount of time and aggravation and just the speed of which you get them in.
Well, what do you? So it may cost the same to assemble them offsite, ship them in, and put them in, but you don't have to wait for all of that time for those bathrooms to be built on site because it's happening simultaneously, right?
Exactly, and just the quality control, it's all taken care of.
So then, Greg, I would argue you are saving money because you're getting the property up to speed a lot quicker. That allows you to start putting dollars back in your pocket.
Well, you're right in that context, absolutely.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. All right, so a little bit more about what it was like. I think working with Embassy Suites, working with the team at Hilton. One of the things I do is I talk a lot about the actual project itself, but I don't speak enough about what it's like between the owners of the property, the developers of the property, and what that process is like working with the brand team to make sure that both sides of the equation get the most out of every single product. So what was it like partnering with those guys? How involved were they with all of the decisions?
Both the brand Embassy and just Hilton in general were quite involved. Made a lot of great friends in the organization there, and they've been very supportive. One of the biggest concerns I had, because we're not operators, we're developers,
right,
were the kitchens, both serving the breakfast kitchen and also our ballroom kitchen, and we spent a lot of time looking at those designs and just room designs, and there was just a lot of great feedback that you can see in the success of the building that it worked.
What was the most surprising element that you all came up with working together?
That's a good question.
Stumped
you got me on that one.
I love it.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. It all worked out.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time on it.
Well, it really seems to have worked out for you. One thing I noticed is you've got a swimming pool here that looks like you could actually swim laps in it instead of taking 2 strokes and turning around.
That's very true, and the genesis of that is both my daughters were competitive high school swimmers.
Wow.
And there's just, knowing the swimming community here, there's a lack of pools in Seattle, so I tried to fit that in. And of course, being a highly intelligent person, I put a fully loaded swimming pool right over the ballroom, so let's hope it doesn't leak.
Although that'll make for a very memorable wedding, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
So we talked a little bit about that mix of business between cruises, regular transient workers, the sports entertainment complexes. There's also a major train station here that services Amtrak. What do you see as that perfect mix of business when you have that extended stay all-suite component built in as part of this?
Another great question. I leave that to the embassy folks to figure out.
Right, because the Hilton folks are managing this.
They're managing the property.
Right.
And they've done a good job. I think we're sold out all this week.
Right.
If you're not sold out in the summers in Seattle, then you have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful. This is probably the nicest weather I've ever been in Seattle for.
Yeah, and it's not even sunny yet.
Yeah. So are you going to do another project with Hilton in the future?
Absolutely. We're talking right now on another project in Southern California we're looking at that we're in negotiations on right now.
I may or may not where that is, but we're not going to spoil it because we don't want other people to be jumping in on your project.
That's right, and we want to do another podcast.
Yes. Excellent. Well, maybe one day when it's open, we'll do it from the mystery location that's out there. Greg, any final thoughts before we wrap this up today?
No, we just appreciate you coming out here, and we've had a great relationship with Alan Roberts and the folks at Embassy and everybody at Hilton.
Yeah, I've known Alan for, it's got to be 15, 20 years now. I can't believe it. I think he's a great brand leader. It's been a lot of fun to watch him throughout his career and continue to take on more roles and responsibilities. And he seems to be really the guy at Embassy that's taken that brand from the place that Jim Holthauser back in the day started it, and he's really carried the torch, I think, really well into the future.
The growth has been incredible.
Yeah. How about a good shameless plug for you folks over at American Life?
We're just up here in little old Seattle doing our thing, so we're grateful for the opportunity to be here.
That was the most unstated shameless plug, understated shameless plug I've ever heard in my life, Greg. Well, I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank all of you guys for listening to this show today. What a great project this is. I really love that we're here. It's summer in the city, and we're doing this great multiple shows, all featuring other different brands of Hilton in different cities. Man, I think I'm going to just sit up here on this balcony all day, and nothing personal, Greg, but I'm not sure I'm ever leaving, so you might have a little problem on your hands tomorrow after we're supposed to check out.
Not a problem.
All right. Thanks for being here, and thanks to all of you guys for listening and watching. Let us know what you think and what projects you're most excited about. We will see you next time.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.